and welcome to another episode of Live with the Glitter Practitioner, episode 27. Please just bear with me today because I am full of some sinusy thing and my head, I just feel really like my face is on fire at the minute. Welcome to episode 27 and thank you for joining me. Please do let me know in comments where you're tuning in from because I love to say hi and just chit chats in the comments afterwards. So for those of you who don't know me, I am Dr. Nupi, aka the Glitter Practitioner. I'm a real life doctor in the UK. I'm a GP, general practitioner, which is family physician. I'm also a spiritual and transformation life coach, and whether I'm with my patients or with my colleagues or with clients even, my passion is really providing whole person heart-centered care. And what I mean by that is really empowering somebody to truly understand what their whole self health needs are, mind, body and soul, and learning how to keep them in balance. So it's recognizing when they're off kilter, what your body's telling you, and if one's off kilter, the other is going to follow. And it's how we realign, rebalance, and basically come back to your whole self, abundant in potential, aligned with yourself. And that's where the magic truly happens. Something's wrong with our connections today, so I'm afraid I can't play my brand story today, but if we will try maybe a bit later. Oh, we are playing the brand.
Follow the light through the storm. And this is not a light that warns, it's a light that forms on the pathway ahead. So you can maneuver around disaster instead of getting stopped by the obstacles. It just takes changing the obstacles. And then the impossible turns to possible. And then the storm lifts. You're no longer adrift. Breathe, focus, you've got this. Ahead you see a figure, a kind soul, and on the inside it feels like you might glow. Your endless cycles of cyclones have been turned to a breeze that just slightly blows. You're adorned with glitter, where you literally feel like a kid again. And this is when you realize how much of your life you've missed. And then you talk more with Dr. Nupi Aurora, who will holistically change your aura, where you and the new you won't be like strangers. No, you'll be like friends. Because this whole process is simply life-changing. So if you're feeling frazzled and you want to find your fizz and dazzle, then book a call with Dr. Nupi Aurora by messaging her right here on LinkedIn.
Oh, I'm so chuffed to bits that you got it to play, Mr. Producer. Thanking you. What I was trying to say before he just literally played it was it wasn't working. And I always love to start. It's my juju good luck. I always like to start my episodes, my show with my brand story, which gives you the essence of what it feels like to work with me, going through this process of finding your fizz and flourishing. So that's thanks to Devon James Stinson, who is a creative genius, and he produced that, and basically it captures the essence of who I am. I think I'm just going to bring my guest on, so please do welcome on my beautiful guest, Fihmiya.
Nupi.
Hi.
I just want to say I love your intro and I absolutely love your brand story.
Thank you.
Russ tricked you. Just saying.
He's so naughty. I think he did that to see how quickly I could react, actually. Yeah.
And to see how you would adjust.
Absolutely. And I think I give myself 10 out of 10, quite frankly. Just saying, Russ. Sweetest ways. Anyway, welcome to the show, honey.
Well, thank you.
So everybody, Fihmiya and I have been, well, connected actually for ages through the Unicorn Group Connections, but we only actually met in person. When was it? What, recently? A couple of weeks ago or something?
I would say about a month ago. So we've
Was
been
it? Yeah.
connected. Well, first of all, thank you for having me,
Oh
Nupi. I
gosh.
absolutely love and adore you. So Nupi and I have been connected through the Unicorn Connectors for quite some time. I mean, for months on end. But when we actually connected, I think it's been about a month, I would say. And
Yeah,
then we
person to
exchanged
person.
numbers, person to person.
Absolutely. Person to person. And when we did meet person to person, we literally we literally didn't stop chatting, giggling. I felt I'd known you forever, and
hmm
I was like, oh my gosh, I love everything what you stand for. We have very
We do.
similar backstories, but enough of me saying this because I could talk about you for hours. Thank you everybody for joining. I am keeping an eye on the comments and I'm slapping my wrist because I tend to do this, go hi. I'm not going to do that because Ross will kill me. Right, Fihmiya, over to you. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself and yes, what
Okay.
are your passions, and over to you.
All right. Well, hello, everyone. I'm Fihmiya. So I'm based out.
No way.
Right. Oh, the waving, so way back. So I'm based out in Michigan. So a little bit of my backstory. I have been an educator for over 10 years. So I have been in the classroom for a little over 10 and then also virtually. So I've gotten both sides of the story or sides of the experience, I should say. And then I just got to a point where I really wanted to venture out because of toxic work environments. And I wanted to explore my untapped potential that I knew that I had and I knew existed, but I really needed to step out of my comfort zone to do that. So my journey on LinkedIn has been a really long one. It's taken me a little over a year to get where I am now, but it's because I knew what I wanted. I was very clear. Hi, Calvin. Love you. Sorry, I had to do that, Nufi.
No,
Forgive
you're
me.
fine. You're allowed for some reason. I'm not, and that's not fair. But please do say hello
Yes.
to anybody who you know. That's the
Well,
whole point of
I
this.
see a lot of my friends here, so
Yeah,
thank you.
so
I'm
do
so happy to
I.
see them.
Hi.
So I, decided to venture out because, being in those toxic work environments, I felt very much caged in.
Yeah,
And I knew the only way to step out is if I actually took this step to explore. So I did some legwork in ag tech startup space, did real estate. God bless them, but that was something that I was not passionate about. And community was just something that fell into my lap. When I look back at it now, I realize I've been doing it for so many years without actually giving it a name. And then I do have a little bit of a story, maybe in a LinkedIn post, about how at some point I was ashamed from a previous community, which is why that push, being shamed and outcasted, kind of pushed me to where I am now. So I am the community manager for Belongly, and which is a mental health space, and also for career crafters for individuals looking to level up their careers. So that's me.
amazing,
hmm
amazing. And that we share a similar backstory, as I said before, about workplace, what
hmm
is good leadership, perhaps, and what I call toxic leadership,
Yeah.
and also where you can have so much passion and drive and commitment to who you're serving, but if the environment isn't conducive to you flourishing, growing, evolving, no amount of passion, I'm afraid, is going to sustain. And you've pivoted your career, I've pivoted mine, and I know there's an age difference, but at the end of the day,
hmm
we both have gone through something very similar. And yeah, I think it's know what your passions are, know what your purpose is for sure, but also what are your values is what I would say. And don't settle for anything less, which is all what I basically share and show with my F list and with my
hmm
program. And I know you feel the same way. Um, so tell us some more. I want
Yeah.
you
So
to say,
for me, community,
yeah,
isn't just a word that I like to use loosely. It is a word that is very near and dear to me. It's a place where you feel valued, where you feel like you belong, you have a place, and it's not somewhere where you're trying to fit in, but it's where you're accepted. So
Yeah.
that's why to me, I'm so very much passionate about what I do in the community. Like when I talk about it, I just don't talk about it. I talk about it with heart. So like,
Yes.
right, community is where the heart is, and that's what it is to me, Nupi.
Yes, absolutely. Oh my gosh, that's exactly what I wrote on your post recently, actually. When you had it was a beautiful post, I thought, which was, what does community mean to you? And I guess for me, it's connection from the heart. It's all about, it's
Mhm,
always, whether I'm with patients, clients, it's heart-centered and tuning in that way. And for me, community is all about that heart-centered connection,
mhm,
the courage to allow yourself to be you,
mhm,
as well as that communication, which again is from the heart. So, and that takes a lot of vulnerability as well. And
mhm,
that for me is true community. It's those around you who make your heart sing, and you're there to support, to guide. It's really based on, I know this sounds a bit corny and cheesy, but it's unconditional love for self
mhm,
first. You have to know thyself, and then it spills over to the people around you who are like-minded. And yeah, I think that for me is my sort of test, really, to those types of connections. And I'm just
mhm.
I'm just so grateful, because this time last year, I less than a year actually, I had no idea about LinkedIn. I had no idea about the community connections that I could have.
Yeah,
Um, and I'm just so grateful for all my connections, actually. And it's just incredible. So I'm totally with you when it comes to community, connection. It's very, very similar.
yeah, and Nupi, when I was in those toxic work environments,
Mhm.
I think a lot of why I am so deeply into community and why it means so much to me is, I think when we have been in places where it's been very toxic and not having that level of support,
Mm,
um, a community just to lean on when you need them, um, we realize that we do need the human connection. We're social
yes,
beings. We need to feel connected with
yes.
people, to talk to share, and to really talk to people that truly understand where you're coming from. So it's being very conscious of who you're going to speak to and who is in your community, right? And I think sometimes audience versus community, those two words kind of get intercept together. Where community is where it's a personal space, right?
Mm,
Where people share liked interest, common values, they're looking to connect, they're looking to just explore and learn from each other. So,
mm,
community on LinkedIn, it took me by storm. Funny story, when I first started on LinkedIn, I thought it was a very uptight space where a person just had to be a certain way. And I'm just like, ooh, I don't fit a checklist. I don't fit the traditional quote unquote box. I just fit what works for Fihmiya. And for me to be in a space, I have to be me. If I can't be in that space, I will just kindly walk on by and go find a space that I can feel valued and appreciated in. So if I had to fit a mold of somebody else's liking, that wasn't for me. So when I found LinkedIn, I was like, ooh, I can actually share my stories, share my experiences. And when I create content, I try my very best to create content that people can relate to, whether it's me talking about community, my experiences in life, or just humor, right? I
yeah,
love to laugh. And Nupi, you
yeah.
know that.
Absolutely.
I
And
love
that's
humor.
the thing. Absolutely. You're being real. And
Hmm.
I don't know any different, to be honest. I remember when I came onto the platform, you raised quite a few good points there. Um, I'm I'm not social media savvy whatsoever, to be honest. And I remember coming on and sort of thinking, oh, I don't know, what am I going to write? I knew what I was going to write about. I mean, I've been doing what I do professionally for 24 years, and I'm passionate about spreading my message about the F list, etc. And I thought, you know what? I'm not even going to get stuck in my head about what am I going to post? Oh my gosh, is it going to forget it? I know people. Ross Hedge, you're being very cheeky. I am now a tech genius. You should see my Canva and CapCut efforts. It's brilliant. But anyway, it is all, for me, it's about people. At the end of the day, it's about people, communication and connection. And that happens to be my number one forte. It's my whole career is based on that as a doctor, really. And I love that. I love that. I love people, and I'm a chatterbox, etc. And I'm nosy. I'm very curious. And that's how I guess started out on the platform, by commenting on other people's posts. There was a shared interest or a shared theme. And there's me in the comments going, oh yeah, wow, this is brilliant. Yeah, yes. And yeah, I don't know about LinkedIn etiquette. I'm like emojiing left, right, and center, F-bombing, because it's part of my F list.
I mean, that's who you are, Nupi, right?
Yes, precisely. And I won't swear, but I'm not going to present myself as anything different. I can't.
Exactly.
Because that's who I am. And I think it's a good way as well, because to be yourself, because you want to be attracting people to you,
exactly,
who get that and who you want to be with. And those are the types of people who I resonate with. And thankfully, that's exactly, in my circle.
yeah.
That's exactly what's
Well, that's
happening.
why you and I are connected, Nupi,
Absolutely.
right? And for those that are listening, when you can be yourself and be your authentic self, because people are like, well, how can I be myself? I'm like, just share the value that you bring. And they question that, like, I don't know if the value that I'm going to bring is going to resonate with people. And I'm like, yes, it will. Even if it's just one person. We don't look at metrics. We don't look at numbers. That does not have to do anything with your worth. You should never tie that to your worth. You bring value that someone needs for that day, and maybe they're not going to like it. They may not engage, but they are reading. People are still looking. I've had people jump in my DM box, chat with me, and have never liked my post and never liked or engage with me. And that's totally fine. Some of us are varying levels. We're very much engagers. For me, I love to talk to people. I mean, I'm a chatterbox newbie. You know this. And the friends that are here, like Jamie and Calvin, they know I love
Lisa.
to talk. So, and when you could just be yourself and actually be in a space where people appreciate that, you don't want to have, yes, Dr. Nupi US tour. I'm on that bus.
It's the glitter bus. That's what she's talking about. I'm so doing it. It's the US tour next year on the glitter bus. And I'm planning my route, and I'm going to,
I'm on that bus, by the way.
Yeah, of course. Whichever way we're going to do it. I'll start in New York and go down and then see everybody and spread glitter. So I think it was Jamie Edwards who basically said in the comments, oh my goodness me, there's glitter coming down from the ceiling. And I'm like, yes, there will be. There will be. No, I'm saving the best to last. Oregon is last. Anyway, sorry, Fihmiya. We're getting...
No, it's okay. I'm just happy with all the comments.
Sorry, Diana, I can't help it. Hi, Diana. Love you. Okay. Yeah. It's panties. What the hell? Our egos it's twisted if we get no likes, comments. Absolutely. Yeah, it's pants is what she means. Yes, it's got nothing to do with numbers. It is what you can bring. And it's that one, I always say this, it doesn't really, if it impacts one person, job done, basically.
Yes. And it's the impact, Nupi, that
absolutely.
you have to bring. It's, when you build a community, right? And it's done the right way, right? Not just loosely, but with genuine intent. You have to think about the values that you're going to bring to your community after you've established the purpose and the guidelines of what your community is going to be. It's the question I always ask myself every day that I come in on LinkedIn or my community spaces. I always say, what value am I going to bring today? And what kind of impact am I looking to provide in my spaces? Because they're coming to me looking for what value I'm going to bring and what they're going to gain. So I do my very best every day, and it comes again through experiences, but it also I look at, patterns that I notice. I'm very much an observer, stems very much from my educational career. Because, when you have 20 plus learners, and
Mhm.
you're dealing with hundreds and hundreds of learners over the years, you're dealing with many personalities. So you kind of pick up on certain things, and always being very curious and asking
Yes,
questions, asking for feedback. What could I do
absolutely.
to make this a better space for you? And not being
Absolutely.
always set, and knowing that people, they want to be appreciated, they want to be
Yeah,
recognized for
yeah,
what they're bringing to the table. So that's really
absolutely.
important.
And so it's what you've just said there is exactly, I guess, it's in education, it's in healthcare. You are tuning in
Hmm.
to not just your own needs, that you need to know about your own needs, but it's tuning into somebody else's needs, essentially,
Hmm.
and really understanding them as a whole person, not just with what optically you see and what's
Hmm.
being presented, the surface. It's really understanding that person in context of what they're coming with. And I'm talking about health really, but I guess from education, it's what you see and what potentially could be going on behind the scenes.
Hmm.
And it's looking beyond, it's looking at somebody's backstory, for example, and it is looking at that individual's experience of what it is to be human, because we're all different, we're all unique in that respect, but we're also we all have the same. I was writing about this earlier. We all have the same baseline human needs,
Hmm.
and that's what connects us truly: love, compassion, honesty, gratitude,
Trust.
kindness, trust. All of these things are what make us human,
Hmm.
and it's factoring that in. And I think that is crucial for me, actually,
Hmm.
because it's seeing beyond, it's delving, it's being curious, as you said. And I think
Hmm.
certain professions, education, healthcare, I guess law, legal as well, you kind of have to be a bit curious. You want to
Yeah.
know more.
I mean, you
Otherwise,
sort of have
you're
to be
missing half a
curious,
trick.
right? How
Yeah,
else are you going to learn if you don't ask questions?
absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
like I never had a background, NUPE in real estate. I mean, I went for my educational career and I jumped right into Quicken Loans, and I
Mm.
knew nothing, but did did my research. I'm like, hey,
That's like, good for
and no
you.
fear, no fear. I'm like, just
I
throw
love it.
yourself in, which I sure
Yeah,
did, and I learned it quite well. They tried to
yeah.
keep me, but I'm just like, the passion is not there,
Mhm.
but I learned a lot about myself, that
Yeah,
I went from going from being an educator to going into real estate, dealing with attorneys and brokers. And I'm just like, what did I get myself into? But I'm like, wait, you know what? It's a learning experience. So what do
yeah,
I have to lose at the end of the day? No
absolutely.
regrets there. And then also, Nupi, you said something really important too, is, when you establish these connections, you also have to establish trust. If you
Yes.
want to make an impact, if you want to drive that impact, you have
Mhm.
to gain people's trust. People
Yeah.
don't want to engage with someone who's just putting on a facade. They want to engage with somebody they can connect with, relate to, they can resonate with your content, and somebody who's being real, just a real
Yes,
human who's not
exactly.
afraid to be vulnerable. But that comes with a level of acceptance. So if you
Yeah.
can show people a little bit of that, they're like, oh, wow, that's an actual real person, by sharing
Mm,
your story, what you want to be known for.
mm,
People are looking for ways to connect, but you have to also gain people's trust too. It's not
absolutely.
an overnight thing. It takes time. For me, it took me a long time to get these connections, but it's been so well worth it. Definitely.
Oh, it's
Mm.
amazing. I
That's
can't
how I'm
believe
talking to you.
that's absolutely what it is. And it's Diana,
Mhm.
absolutely. Diana, my supernova soul sister, um, mentioned something about really being true to yourself,
Mhm.
and that trust and that connection, it's with yourself, actually. That is what when you are really aware of who you are, what lights you up, what your
Mhm.
passions are, what your purpose is, and you are crafting, you get to choose to create this life for yourself.
Mhm.
Being your true, authentic self, essentially. You don't need anybody else's approval. Your happiness, your sense of self comes from within, from yourself. And, that can take time to establish. Sometimes you have to go through the pain and the shite of burnout, or something, your pain points throughout your life, essentially, which help create it's learning what can I learn from this. So it's remaining curious, as you said, as opposed to critical, and then all your critter chatter starts kicking off of, oh my God, I'm a failure. Oh no, I should have done this. I should have done that. Hold on. What can I take from that? What can I learn from this? What can I bring forward?
What can I learn from my mistakes?
Precisely. And that's how we grow. That's how we learn, we grow, we evolve. And that's the pass on. So somebody might be 5 steps behind or 2 steps behind, but they're like, oh my gosh, I resonate with your words. I understand what you're saying. And maybe that will help me. And that's the whole purpose, I believe. And that's actually why I came onto this platform, to be very honest, in March, April of this year, was for that reason. I know what burnout felt like. I know what pivoting my career felt like. I mean, burnout for me, it was 12 years ago, but it's what I learned from it. It's how I created my F list. And too damn right, I want to share that with other physicians, colleagues, because, and other people. It's not my message to keep. I want to share it, essentially. And you're right, it takes time to build trust, but it boils down to being true to yourself. It's a full circle.
And you may, Noopy, just very well by sharing your story, you may be the voice that inspires, empowers other unheard voices to come out, step out of their comfort zone, and really own their story and share it. And, I haven't told many people about when I was shamed from a previous community for taking a mental health break. I mean, the shame, oh my God, the guilt that they put on me for doing that was just insanely
Look at
crazy.
my face. I'm just like,
but that when I went through that, it was really hard during the time, because I really counted on that community to be there for me and support me when I needed them. But it was a total opposite. And since then, I was like, you know what, something's got to change in these community spaces where we want to feel psychologically safe. We want to be in a space where we feel like we belong. But when you're in a community, when it's done the opposite, you're like, oh no, that's not going to happen. I really need to be the advocate for pushing what community actually is and what it entails and what it looks like. And I may not be everybody's cup of tea, but that's okay. But at least I'm driving that positive.
Sorry.
But at least I'm driving, that positive impact, because people want to be included. How do you not include someone? How are you okay with just pushing somebody off to the side and being able to go to bed at night thinking that you did just that? It's,
I know.
yeah,
do you know
it's,
what?
yeah.
You know what? I've stopped trying to, because that really got me last year. But I also knew it's also a signal and a sign that I've outgrown this. And for me to keep flourishing and to keep on growing, I mean, I've got 20 odd years left of my career. I love what I do too much. I'm not going to sacrifice that or bend to somebody's, I guess, what convention is. I don't give a shit, because at the end of the day, it's about really making a difference in somebody's life, which takes longer than 10 minutes. And I will stand for that every single time. And I think that's my passion, that's my drive, because it works. I've seen it. I've done this for 10, 11 years consciously post burnout and my whole career. So no, I think it's not pleasant at all when you are shamed, because I remember how that felt. It was awful. It was absolutely hideous. But it's going back to, okay, well, what are my values? This is clearly not serving me anymore. So thank you very much. Jog on. I'll find the people who do appreciate me and value me, etc.
Go where you're valued is what I say. Go where you're appreciated.
Absolutely.
Don't try to fit in a space where you where you're wasting so much of your precious time and energy trying to fit
Yeah.
in a
Sack
space that
that.
will not accept you. That's not what a community is. If you have to keep doing that, something is wrong. So it's
Yes.
like you have to, like you said, think about your values. What do you want? What do you need? What do you want? And then go from there. So to me, I just really want to keep building spaces where it empowers people to speak up.
Yes.
Own your voice.
Yes.
You are
That's
not
what I
anyone
said.
else's
Yes.
words, but your own.
Yes.
So yes,
Know your worth. Own your needs.
own your voice.
Own your
Do it,
voice.
Snoopy.
Stand. Okay, hold on. Let me start again. Hold on. Okay, ready?
Yes.
Own your needs. Protect them. Stand in your power and unapologetically live the life you deserve and that you want to create. Absolutely. And that is a life filled with joy, with fizz, with glitter, with magic, with you name it, you can have it. But it comes from really understanding what are your passions, what lights you up, and setting that intention and just go for it because you can. Absolutely.
And then a question, Nupi, I've been asked quite a few times is,
Go for it.
how do I show value? How do I engage and establish these connections? I said, well, you got to show up. I said, the old me used to expect things to come to her. And I'm like, wait a second. Nothing's
You've
really
got to make
happening,
it
but I'm just sitting
happen.
there. I have got to make it happen. I've got to
Yes.
throw myself in
Yeah.
there. It's when we start to feel uncomfortable, that's when we know the change is going to occur, the growth and the learning is going to happen. So
Absolutely.
to me, I just had to throw myself in, and like
Just
what Russ is putting out there, you have to show up. You have to step out. You have to put skin in the game, is what we always say in the career crafter space. You have to put skin in the game. If you want to grow and change, you actually have to take, not just say it, but you have to take the steps.
Do it.
You have to do
Action.
it. Put
Absolutely.
action, like show me. Like I always tell people, don't just tell me, show me. So for me, how do I show up to show people that I care and I do the very best that I can? And it comes with, you do the very best that you can, is again showing up, engaging on my post in the conversation, because that's where the deep conversations happen, and that's where you build those relationships, is in those comments. And for me, what I've been doing, which has been a lot of fun, but that's just me, is if I am, let's say, on my post and there is a conversation happening between two other people, I just throw myself into that conversation.
That's what I do. Like same thing.
because there's just something about it. I'm just like, oh, this is really cool. What's happening here? I want to get to know these two people. And I tell people there are ways to engage. It's not just posting and then you poof disappear like a ghost. No, how are you going to establish a connection or build a relationship when you just post and then ghost people? You have to talk.
Absolutely.
Talk to people on your
glitter
post.
on people's comments.
You do. You glitterify them.
I certainly do. Well, if I'm watching, say, Russ's show or supporting, and actually that's how I actually met. She is my Supernova Soul sister, Diana Londonio, who we do the Supernova Sisters Physicians in Motion. I know we're about 33 minutes in. Yes, nearly done, Russ, nearly done. And that's how I met her. And I've met so many people in comments who I really hold very dear to my heart. In fact, Lisa is one. You're one. We've been chatting in comments for these last few months, and I do watch. I so do. Oh my God,
you under the bus.
I'm always commenting and glitter bombing. Constantly.
But you guys have established that connection, right? That rapport, you and Russ. So that's why you guys were able to talk.
Absolutely. And I'm not even. But stop it! Stop! You're really distracting me. I get distracted at the top of my hat. But that's exactly it. It's real life conversation, and I'll never forget the conversation you, myself, Alexander, Andrews, and Lisa were having. Going, we're all going to come to Australia. The poor guy was like, "Holy shit! I don't know if I can handle this." Actually,
I don't know if he's
the
ready.
whole the glitter bus conversation. I was like, "Oh my God! I think I'll be so excited when I see you guys in real life." So I said this to Tisha last week. I think I'll actually explode into glitter, and there'll be
Mhm,
anything left. There'll
mhm.
just be this pile of glitter going, this must be. And then you were going, and then you were going. Yeah, we're going to throw it all around. I was like, no, don't do
I think
that
we're
to me.
confusing everyone now. So
I know.
everyone, this is like a side
Completely going
conversation
off
that we've had.
tangent.
But this is the
Absolutely. Well, they
connection
do.
that Nupi and
Yeah,
I've established.
exactly. We know what we're
You know,
saying. I think they do. I think
do.
everybody does. Yeah,
But you know, somebody had said, Bruce said, it's that's where the deeper connections do happen,
absolutely.
is when you nurture these conversations. Now, given you can't go on everybody's post, right, and engage. That's, you know, we don't have the bandwidth for that, but it's going in with intent
Yeah.
and real genuineness. When you do, like, you go in with a purpose, and share maybe a thought-provoking question or conversation, and doing the very best that you can, and then also hopping into other people's posts as well. And it
Yes.
takes time to establish all of this. It's not going to be
Or
an
you just throw
overnight.
yourself
Anything
in.
organic
Yeah.
is
I
not
mean,
going to
I
be
guess it
overnight.
depends
It's like
what
any
your personality.
relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your personality like as well? You go with what is right for you. Some
Mhm.
people are naturally, hi, hello.
That's me. Hey, everyone. Sometimes I
Hi.
might feel like I'm too much energy for some people, but that's just me. I can't help it.
There is never too much. If anybody thinks that, they're not your people. I'm sorry. F off.
Mhm.
No. No. How
Yeah.
can somebody have too much of anything? Actually, I think I wrote this on a comment. I was really getting into this. This is the last juicy thing I would like to share. Confused.com. What are we discussing? Oh no, Gula, don't be confused. I'm not. Okay. So it's, if people think like that, my experience is, what is it that they're seeing in themselves, which is a lack of, that they think, oh my gosh, you're too much.
Mhm.
It was Jen Russman's post, actually. I just remembered what that was about. So it's being aware, isn't it, of who you are, what you represent, and actually what you want to share. That's
Mhm.
what I would say. So for Mia, I do need to wrap up.
Mhm.
What would be your last, just a snippet or just a couple of points for people to take away from today's conversation?
I just say that, you know, what I usually tell everyone is, no matter what space that you go into, just know
Sorry.
that you don't have to be anyone else but yourself. Because if you truly want people to get to know who you are, you need to be you. Don't
Yes.
try to fit in, because your community, your real, authentic, organic community will find you. You will find each other at
Yeah.
some point, you know, and not to give up on your journey. I always say, when things are meant to be, they're meant to be. It's kind of
Yes.
like the universe, you know, when things
Yes.
fall into place, and
Yes.
the right people will be there for you. And again,
Yes.
just don't be anything other than you. So,
Be you with
mhm.
frigging bells on is what I would like to add
Yes,
to that
and
one. That's
glitter.
my tagline is, be you with bells on. Oh, thank you. And how can people get hold of you, please?
Well, there you can definitely find me on LinkedIn. So
Mhm.
that is probably the best way to find me. And you can send me a DM, you can connect with me, but LinkedIn is definitely the place that you'll find me the most.
Fabulous. And all the details are going to be on
Hmm.
the show notes and everything else. So do connect with Fihmiya. She's amazing. And
Thank you.
very quickly, any exciting projects coming up? Anything you would like to
Ooh,
showcase?
let's see. Well, I am in, you know, I'm the community manager for Career Crafter. So if you are someone looking to enhance your career, please feel free to join us. We have an amazing community there that I've established so many wonderful friendships with. And then also, if you are a practitioner, clinician, or want to be, you know, involved in the Belongly mental health space, please feel free to do that. And as far as
Absolutely.
projects, gosh, well, I have a live with Mr. Russ himself. And again, that's through Everyone Connections. When you put yourself out there, you establish your personal brand, you show people who you are, and, you know, are not afraid to be you. You just kind of build these connections. And
Yeah.
that's how Russ and I are getting together next month. And I have a few other lives, but I don't have the deets on those just yet.
And
So, and I'm
I
thinking,
knew you would
I
do this. I knew you would do this. The stuff we've been talking about, for God's sake.
Oh, well, that's something I'm considering possibly everyone in the future. I haven't
Yeah.
established that.
Oh,
Maybe,
yes.
there might be at some point, but please
Yes.
don't quote me and come after me. But I
Oh,
may be doing some consulting for ideas to brainstorm with you. And I'm quite the innovator. So
yes.
my mind is always spinning with ideas that you can come with and
Yes.
post on LinkedIn. But don't quote
Absolutely.
me yet. So this is something I'm just manifesting.
And
And
that's the
please
one.
help me. You put me on. You put me on the like. I don't know.
Come on, read my mind. Read my mind. No, I was actually thinking of our one-off specials. Oh my
You
God, you
gotta
don't
help me
remember?
here.
Okay,
I
fine.
don't remember. It's been a
Never
Monday.
mind. Never mind. It's
Okay.
okay. We can just tease people with things and
Yes, we're
just
gonna
drop
tease
something
you,
later. We're
and I'm
just teasing.
pretending not to know.
Yeah, exactly. You're double bluffing, in other words. Right, I had
Yeah.
better wrap up. Thank you so much for being a fabulous guest tonight, and thank you for coming
having me,
on.
Newbie. Well, thank you
Oh,
for having me. Thank you to everybody that's been here listening and watching and tuning in, and to Russ, who is the mastermind behind the show. Thank you.
and actually, I think I'm going to take credit for the show. Sorry, Russ. I'm here
Producer.
now.
Well, you make the show,
Yeah,
Noopy, this thing.
yeah, exactly. It's the glitter. I mean, Don't go anywhere. I'll come and join you in the green room.
All right, awesome.
Oh, gosh, that went so quickly. I can't believe it. Amazing. And I think she's just, oh, I love her. She's just a bundle of energy. And if you haven't connected with Fihmiya, please do. So I'm going to wrap up now. Thank you so much for joining me and tuning in and watching. Just as a reminder, you can find Live with the Glitter Practitioner every Monday at 8 p.m. GMT, which is 12 noon Pacific Standard Time, not daylight time anymore. And the other live stream show that I co-host with is with my amazing soul sister, Diana Londonio, Supernova Soul Sisters, Physicians in Motion. And that's every other Tuesday. You can also find me, well, you can find me mainly here on LinkedIn, as well as YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. I really had to think about that one slowly, under the Glitter Practitioner. Thank you for joining me. And don't forget, if you feel that you're feeling frazzled and that you would like to have a chat, please book a call with me. And you will find my contact details. It's all over LinkedIn, essentially. Book into my Calendly and let's have a chat. Take care, and I'll see you again next week. Bye.